maybe don't talk about the bankruptcy laws. No one really, wants to hear about those, but they do want to hear about how to improve their credit score or how to, avoid debt.
So it's with great pleasure that I introduce the king, the absolute king of social media followers. He is the #1 most followed attorney in the world. His name is Mike Mandel. He goes by Law by Mike. You can follow him on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. He's all over the place. He is the GOAT, as they say, which I know attorneys, you probably don't know that it means greatest of all time. Okay. It's not a legal term. Okay. But he is the GOAT. He is the #1 when it comes to gaining a social media following as an attorney. He is a Duke Law graduate. He left a big firm to go work for his family's firm. And then he started blowing up online and had to create a whole new business model on having international attention behind his the biggest following ever built in social media. So Mike, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Thanks for having me, Bill. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you perfectly.
Perfect.
So tons of questions. I guess the first question I'd like to drill down into is, how do you get started? Yes, you have over 7.2 million followers now. I think what most people struggle with is like that initial dark period where you're putting in the work and nothing's happening.
Yeah, so we have a course that we're developing on this, but I'm going to share some special tips with you guys on this interview. But really, when you're thinking about how to get started, you want to always think about what is useful for people. If we're talking to lawyers here and we're talking about what your niche is, the law that you practice. If you're a bankruptcy attorney, like a tip that I would give is maybe don't talk about the bankruptcy laws. No one really, wants to hear about those, but they do want to hear about how to improve their credit score or how to, avoid debt. So find ways to put out information that the general public wants to know. And it's all about creating goodwill with people. And, when they do have problems, they're going to remember you because you were giving, tips to them that help them. And, that comes back in their mind when they need someone like a professional to do the work.
Such a good point that I think all of us can operate on. I see some of these people create divorce lawyer podcasts. I'm like, no, like, why would someone identify as a divorced person or like as a bankrupt person? Let's talk about financial freedom or relationship mastery, right?
Yeah, I mean, even when the divorce, the divorce field, I mean, I guess you could find something. I'm just spitballing off the top of my head, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if people like to hear crazy divorce stories,
Yeah.
And that could be a piece that you could do. You could also talk about, the things that matter to people. I mean, I get a ton of family law requests. They're always asking about custody. They're always asking about divorce. They're asking about prenups, which, prenups are pretty fun for people to learn about. And there's always a way to pivot whatever you're doing, even if that's why I use the bankruptcy example is kind of boring. And sorry out there for all you bankruptcy lawyers. But there's a spin on it. You can always spin it to make it intriguing and interesting for people. So that's the first step really when you're getting started. And then, you really want to build an inventory of videos and posts and all of that, and not just do one at a time, because what will happen, as us lawyers know, is that we'll get busy and then you won't post for 2 weeks. And then that's not what the algorithms want. They want consistent posting. It doesn't need to be every day, but you definitely need to be doing it on a consistent basis, whether that's once a week, 3 times a week or whatever, but not sporadic.
Such an important point there is the consistency principle. I think another thing I kind of wanted to ask you is a fun question for you to think and kind of think about, what is the difference? Because you built 721,000 followers. I think the last I checked on YouTube, you have 536,000 on Instagram. You have over 6 million on TikTok. My question to you is each follower created equal? To you, is a TikTok follower as valuable as a YouTube follower? And that's my first question. And then the second kind of follow-up question on that is, what is the one difference in gaining a following on each of these 3 mega platforms that you've built a following on?
Those are great questions. It's with TikTok, I get cases from TikTok. The whole thing when I went into it was I saw the scarcity of lawyers in there at the time. Now they're all on there.
Mhm.
But really, I was going to make content for Instagram, and TikTok was kind of just emerging or becoming more popular. But everyone, professional wise, was going, that's for kids. They're doing stupid dances. The number one lawyer on there at the time was doing dances, of course. And I just figured if I'm going to do it on Instagram, you might as well post it on TikTok. And that should always be your goal there. Repurposing content. Try to make it easy on yourself so you can post it on all these platforms. But TikTok does tend to be younger, but they do reach out with cases, and I've had 40-year-old or 40-year-old plus people from TikTok reach out. YouTubers tend to be, they're more ruthless in the comments, but they tend to be a little more, when they reach out, they actually have a case. So the YouTubers, and then Instagram, I mean, I just get DMs all the time. So there's a lot. I think all three platforms, there is no disadvantage to doing them. You want to increase your spread across those networks and reach, and you never know who's going to reach out to you and which platform they prefer.
So as an example of your strategy on TikTok, which I've seen other attorneys do, like Ali Awad and Mark Wasserman and some others who we've interviewed on this show, I've seen a lot of attorneys who go onto the TikTok train, not a lot, the select few who actually do TikTok, will start actually creating their content as TikTok centric, and then they'll post that on their Instagram with little edits. Whereas, other attorneys may decide, if they want to grow on social media, to have a separate TikTok strategy from Instagram. Do you notice that there's pros and cons to repurposing TikTok content and when putting that on an Instagram profile for an attorney?
Yeah. So the number one thing is what we do is, we film our videos and we don't do it in app. Now you can do it in app. But before we post it, we have the video saved so that it doesn't have the watermark. You do not want the watermark on any of these platforms, whichever one you're posting on first. If you do that, their algorithms are going to pick it up, and they're their competition. So they're not going to push it out well. So that's, the first tip there. I think TikTok has its own, it's a much shorter attention span. So you really want to aim for short videos there. Now, if you are going to make one video, again, to conserve on your time, you can use that same short video for all of them. But TikTok lends itself to being shorter than Instagram and YouTube. YouTube, I've noticed at least that the longer performing ones, like 30 to 40 seconds, are actually performing a little bit better than the 15-second ones that normally perform better on TikTok.
Man, you got all these strategies in your head. I'm just trying to pull them out right now.
Yeah.
It's like you've decoded every single one of these platforms.
Well, that's what our course here, leadsbymike.com, it's not out yet, but if people want to look into it, it's going to be a whole course for professionals. We're doing a discount for pre-sale on it, but this is why I know all this stuff. We've been a year of this, really analyzing everything from captions and hashtags to tags and collaborations and all that. There's so much. Dive deep into it.
So in terms of gaining a following, I think this is one of the hardest parts, is that you feel that if you're going to get started on social media, you're going to put out all this stuff and no one's going to see it, right? So when you look at different models to build a following, there's a couple different paths, right? There's obviously the supercharge is collaborations, right? Collaborating with accounts that already have a lot of followers. There's certain methods that have worked where you quote unquote go viral, which works easier on platforms like TikTok when there's that arbitrage period where there's more demand than supply, by being a first mover, right? So there's like the viral move, there's the collaborations, and then there's just spend a crap ton of money on ads offline and everywhere, and then just put out content and people will find you through branded search or through just searching out your firm. Of those three models, or maybe there's a model that I missed, perhaps making really quality content could be another model that could help with the virality. when I say building a following, would have been like the cheat codes for you? Would have been like something that you feel like was like, dang, am I really doing this? Is this really working that well to get a following?
So, I mean, look, you can always for your law firm do the traditional forms of marketing, you know, billboards, ads, even Google ads, all that stuff. But the advantage of using social media is that you really don't have to spend any money. You know, you just have to spend your time. I know my videos are very, you know, look like they're very well produced. It's just my cousin and myself making these. And he's just really talented at video editing. But at the same time, there's other lawyers on these platforms that are doing stuff like with the in-app, you know, editing, and they're performing incredibly well. So it's about quality and what you're putting out there and making sure you're giving useful information to people. As far as like a cheat code, I really think this. I think that the number of followers is not so significant. It should not be your focus. Your focus should be on creating a community of people that really, you know, bond with you, because the advantage of social media compared to these traditional forms of advertising is that people get to engage with you. They get to talk to you. They get to become fans of you. They get to love and subscribe or follow your content, and that's building a relationship. So whether you have, you know, 1 million followers or 10,000 or 1,000. It's really about, you know, if those 1,000 people love your message, like that's such higher quality than having 1 million people just because you did something silly to become viral. You know, you really want to build, you know, be authentic, be yourself, and create something that, you know, don't focus on the numbers of followers, focus on who, you know, what the reception is from the people that do follow you.